Well, good morning. It's January the 2nd of 2025. Now, in the olden days, I would spend some time in my office writing 2025 on about 15 or 20 paper checks. I haven't written a paper check in years, but that's what we used to do on January 1st or 2nd or so, is sit down and write 2025 on our paper checks because we tend to forget and put the last year on it. Anyway, let's see, what time is it? It's about, 8:45. Today is Thursday, so we have an Old Farts, P-H-A-R-T-Z, lunch at about 11, so I've got 2 hours here to work on this bike. Bottom line is I'm going to stop trying to figure out what's wrong and just change out the whole Boyer system. I've got a replacement box. It has a replacement mag pickup in it already that I put in yesterday. So that half is changed and wired. Back here, all I have to do is get way under here and dig through all this stuff and get that box out, drag it up high enough to cut the wires and splice in a new box and see if that solves the problem. I have the funniest feeling it will. So I got to get that out of the box, away from the battery, and up in the air high enough to splice in a new black box, Boyer black box. So, like I said yesterday, this looks like a rat's nest. It's not. It's actually quite neat. It's as neat as you can be when all the electronics are in one place and you have to run wires to them. If we distributed this system a little better, well, not better, because this is a bobber. If we distributed the system like on a stock bike, the coils would be up here, the Boyer box would be up there, this regulator would be underneath the battery box, and the battery would be back here by itself, and things would be a lot neater, shall we say. So anyway, I'm going to get that Boyer out of there and replace it, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, let's have a little show and tell. You might find this interesting. When I went in to get the Boyer box, I decided to just lay stuff out. These are Boyer parts. This is a complete Boyer system with the black box and the mag pickup, and it's nicely put into a Ziploc, which means when I did that, I considered it to be a fully operational system. This is a black box that came out of a bike that we salvaged, so it is probably good. I'm going to try this one first. I've got 1, 2, 3 more mag pickups and 2, 4, 6 mag rotors, bunch of wires, bunch of connectors, and a 5K ohm resistor cap. These bikes should be running 5K ohm resistor packs, resistor spark plug caps with a solid core ignition wire. The 5K ohm cuts down the possibility of the rectifier regulator not working correctly. This bike doesn't have 5K ohm spark plug caps. I'm not sure if I'll put them on or not. Over here I have parts that are left over from the Wassel vape system, which is very similar to the Boyer system. Actually, my test setup has a vape black box on it. Let's see if I can get there. That's the vape black box down there. And it is the same, does the same job as the Boyer black box. Slightly smaller, different method of building it, but it does the same thing. They're interchangeable. This is the mag pickup for the vape. This is very nice. This is a work of art. It's machined metal and very nice. And it connects with a connector to the black box. So that's kind of nice. Let's see, what do I want to say? Okay, this is the original style. I don't know if Boyer was the first, but this was their, let's put it this way. I have one of these systems with one of these rotors and one of these boxes in my Norton that I installed in 1975. It's still in there. It still runs like a champ. It has never failed, and I put it in 1975. So Boyers are good systems and very dependable. Don't let anybody ever tell you they're not. And I haven't touched that system since 1975, and you can't do that if you have mechanical points in your bike. Okay, so going back on show and tell, this is the mag pickup plate that came out of this bike. I'm going to just leave it here. If the one that's in it works, I'll just clean this one off and add it to the collection. This is my top dead center tool. I made it. It's out of a spark plug shell. You drill you take everything out, you solder in a little brass tube at an angle, and you can get a better vertical displacement when you put the spark plug into the angle of the head. So it gives you a better measurement. You can I use this when I'm doing the timing on a bike that doesn't have a timing mark, and we have to do it with piston displacement. You may notice, let me show you here, these two marks are used for 650 Triumphs. I don't have to really look for top dead center. All I have to do is set this one to right there, and I know I'm at top dead center. And if I set it to right here, I know I'm exactly full advance. Just a little bit of laziness makes life easier. A little bit of cleverness makes life lazier. One of the two. Let's see. These are, like I say, ignition parts left over from Wassel. Good quality stuff. This is my test setup, and it's a complete Wassel system. Has the Wassel black box, has the Wassel rotor if I want to use it rather than use the one that's in the bike, which we proved yesterday that this rotor and this rotor will work on the Wassel system. So it's good to know that they are electronically the same, just different packaging. Let's see, you hook this to the battery, positive and ground, and that's your ignition. And then put your spark plugs on and kick her over, and you've completely replaced the ignition system, completely independent of the motorcycle's electrical system. And if you get spark, you know that whatever was causing you to not get spark was electronic. Test light, this I use for chasing 12 volts. It's, you know, basic. And interesting story, this belonged to my father, and it's a snap-on. I don't know if you can see this. Let me zoom in. It's a snap-on, and it's so old that it got so hot that it actually started to melt. I had to pry the bulb out and replace it when I fixed it. I also insulated the probe. This is heat shrink on here, leaving only this amount exposed, just to avoid causing short circuits when you're trying to get into a close area. Let's see what this number says. It says, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. It says patent number 201171. Anyway, it's mine now. And my Snap-on guy saw it one day and said, I will trade you a brand new one for that one. He really wanted this one. And I said, ain't gonna happen. My shop battery is here. I have wired in a couple of connectors, and these are the same connectors I use in all my test equipment, so I can just plug them in. Has an on-off switch built in, put on, so I can turn these on and off. And I use a 7.5 amp fuse on here to these for my testing. A 7.5 amp fuse will blow much faster than 10 amp fuse, which is the normal fuse I put on these bikes. And I definitely will say it one more time, do not use 35 amp fuses on your bikes. That's wrong, oh, ever so wrong, it's wrong. Use 10 amp fuses on your bikes, that's all they need. Okay, so anyway, that's a little bit show and tell. My ignition system, test system. Where's my, oh, here it is. We didn't talk about this. This is a pulse generator. And you drive it with the drill. I showed you yesterday, just spin it with the drill. And it'll make the same magnetic pulses that these make when they're installed in the bike. And you put a drill on here, you spin it up, and you'll get sparks if the whole system is working. And it's very handy. It's my neighbor gave it to me. It's a mag pulse generator for a automobile speedometer. And it works beautifully for this application. So that's all of my ignition test equipment. I've been doing this for like 20 years, and I'm pretty good at fixing these ignition systems. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to swap this box in, this one, and see what happens, because I spent it's just not worth spending a whole lot of time trying to figure out where the error is when it's faster to just replace the whole system, you know? More than once I've had bikes come in here with problems, and I've gone over them. When I do a bike audit, I start at the front tire right here, and I work my way through the bike all the way back to the back of this tire, and then I fix everything in between those 2 points that I don't like. And quite often, whatever the problem was when the bike came in, it's gone, because I fixed the 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 10, 15, 20 things I found between that point and this point, and the bike starts and runs like a top, and the client says, well, what was wrong? And I say, I don't know. I don't know. I fixed like 15 different things, and the bike runs now, and that's all I care about. And then I give them a warranty. By the way, my warranty is very simple. My warranty is anything I work on is guaranteed for the rest of your life. Makes it a whole lot simpler. How many times have I had something come back under warranty? I can probably count on the fingers of one finger. So it just doesn't matter. You fix it right, it don't come back. If it do come back, usually it's something different than what the client thinks it is. So anyway, I'm pretty good at the ignition systems, and this one I think is fried. Don't know why, don't care why, but I think the black box is fried, and I'm about to find out by putting a new black box into it. I will give you some more video after a little while. Well, it's about 2:20 in the afternoon on January the 2nd, and the bike is at this point in time fully wired, and the new black box is installed, and we do have spark. Here's the new black box. I've just got it hanging out here in the wind at this point in time. I will put it into the box where it goes once I demonstrate for you the spark at the spark plugs. And then what I'll do is, after I put it inside the battery box next to the battery, I will go in there with nye ties and tie down the wires so that they look a bit neater. Let's see. The ignition is on here, just ignition only, off, and ignition with lights here. So it's a three-way switch. Ignition, off, ignition with lights. All right. I'm going to set the camera up and show you spark up here at the sparklers. All right, there's the sparkler sitting up there in the wind. We'll do the old on-off trick to show you the spark when you turn the ignition on and off, like so. Now the ignition's on. I'm going to kick this over by hand, and you should be able to see spark. Of which I don't see any. Oh, let's turn the ignition on. Haha, sorry. That was a little scary there. Okay, ignition is on now. Wow. There you go. You got spark all over the place. You got lots of sparkles. All right, so we got spark. We got spark. All God's children got spark. At this point, what I'm going to do is invite Kevin to come down. We'll lower the bike down. He will kick on the Kickstarter as rapidly as possible. And I, on the other side, will use the strobe light to make sure that the ignition is strobing somewhere just before full advance. Because at kickover speed, let me show you, we made marks here. At kickover speed, the ignition should be firing. This is top dead center. This is full advanced. Usually somewhere right about here is where kickover speed will advance to. Somewhere between these two lines. As long as it's between those two lines, the bike will probably run. Okay, so at this point in time, I'm going to do a little bit of wire lashing, invite Kevin down, and we'll come back with another video after we do that, or when we do that. All right, Kevin's on his way down. We're going to do some kicking and a sparking and a sparking and a kicking. In the meantime, I wanted to one more time reiterate, something's wrong with this back wheel. It should it should spin, not drag. Something's dragging inside this brake. It's not the brake mechanism, because that's got lots of play. So something inside that brake mechanism is dragging. And oh, this guy's loose too. Okay, so anyway, things that need attention. And the first is this rear wheel. It should spin, not have so much drag. All right, when Kevin gets here, we'll do some kicking and sparking. All right, we've set the little white dot in the proper hole, and we've kicked it over a few times and adjusted the little rotor, the stator slightly. And what we're trying to do, let me get a pointer here. This will do a pointer. This is your top dead center mark. This is the fully advanced mark. And at kickover speeds, the ignition should be firing somewhere in between the two of these, okay? We'll never get full advance because you can't go fast enough. But as long as it's firing somewhere between these two marks, the bike should run when the bike is ready to run. Now Kevin's going to go over there and kick the heck out of it. And I'm going to put the strobe over here and see if you can see the strobe as it goes by.
You ready?
Yep. See, to me, that's beautiful. It was dead center between those two marks.
Good.
And that ought to be pretty darn close.
Yeah.
I think the bike is, when the bike is ready to run, I think the ignition is ready to support it. The ignition timing. So at this point in time, we're going to close this bike up and call it good. We're not going to do the first start.
Nope, because...
Klein is going to do that.
Yep.